Pete's what's poppin', it's Goobs here, back with another video. In this one, we have another tip video. You guys have been seeming to like the tip videos a lot more in the gameplay. Not that you guys don't like the gameplays, but the tip videos seem to be popping off, and I'm glad, because that's my job, man. I'm here to help you guys out. This video, as you can tell, is going to be something that I covered in my settings video, but I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on it, and that is your PCI. So this one here is reticle. This was one of the OG ones back in the day that I use, and since, you know, the customization features have grown in MLB The Show over the years, I kind of told people to lean away towards that one, and you'll understand why. So let's just get into all of the different features. So you can just completely turn your PCI off if you want to. You can turn that thing off, like it will still be there, but it just won't be there on your screen. So you can see it still like shows up in the feedback, but it just won't be on your screen. So I feel like some people actually didn't know that you can actually just turn your PC, you can turn it off, which I know is like the way that some people like to do it, because they just naturally have a good eye and they don't like to have that on their screen if they feel like it gets in the way. So if that's your kind of thing, maybe give it a whirl. All right, so let's get into the fade out option. So this will just genuinely be if you want this to fade out, if you want it to. So let's go diamonds, basic, and let's do just the inner fade out. If I can do that. I don't know if I can. Inner and outer. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So you can see it starts off like this, and then it slowly fades away. So I'm not really quite sure why people would have this on. Like, it's not really something that helps you or it does anything for you, really. So don't really. Just have your PCI set to what it should be. Don't worry about this fade out option. So you want to have that set to none. Now, the transparency. I'm going to get into what actual PCIs you should be using before I talk about the transparency, because depending on the PCI, there are different PCIs that I like to use at different transparencies. So I would say that I have probably three go-to or three like highly recommended PCIs that you should try out. And I'm going to show you guys the first one that I use all the time. The first one I use all the time is just your flat out basic, just center PCI. It could be just diamonds, it could be just circles. I like to use diamonds. I feel like it covers the most ground, you know what I mean? Like, it's not too small compared to the circles. The altitude just looks weird by itself, I find. But I'm a big just diamonds guy. It's what I use if you guys watch my videos or you watch my streams. This is the PCI that I go to. And in my head, and my reasoning behind it is aim small, miss small. You're aiming to put this tiny little diamond on the ball, and okay, Laughing Mountain in the daytime, I can't see when he throws a curveball, but disregard that fact. Aim small, miss small, man. Keep your PCI middle and just try and you're aiming that top diamond, right? Because that's the perfect fly ball. You're aiming with that top diamond, okay? Don't aim with the bottom one or the middle one. And aiming with the middle one's not terrible, but you really want to aim with that top diamond and try and put that on the ball. And I mean, like, it's obviously like it's a work to master it kind of thing, and I still haven't mastered it. But your PCI placement, be sure to go check out that tip video as well. But this is just based on PCI, and this PCI will help you put the PCI on the ball. Now, if you're somebody that's a little bit newer to the game and, you know, you're not really comfortable with that, I have a couple other ones here that you can use. So we're going to go ahead and switch this one over to circles, and we're going to throw this on basic. Now, this is going to look a little bit different. Now, my reasoning behind this is that if you're a little bit newer to the game and you want like kind of a bigger PCI, it has that reticle outline and it still has the 3 dots in the middle. So if you're not really 100% comfortable with just the middle, this is a great introduction to that. You still have the 3 dots in the middle, but you also have that PCI, and I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't be using the outer PCI. So this PCI, you can also do it if you just turn the inner off and you go, there's also a basic option for outer, and it makes it ginormous. Okay, it makes it ginormous, and honestly, I know a lot of people like using that PCI just because it makes it bigger, right? Like it's bigger on your screen, like you feel like you're in more control of it. But as you can see, even just a couple of swings that I've taken with this outer PCI on, my PCI hasn't been on the ball compared to the other ones. Like I'm just genuinely missing, just because, like, in my head, with this PCI being so big, like, oh, I don't have to like completely square it up just because my PCI is so big, kind of deal, right? No. Do not even touch the outer PCI. Just keep this on none. Do not use the outer PCI. Okay? So basic in circles, and I mean, you can switch it up, and I do like to switch it up. There are a bunch of different forms of just this combination of center and inner that I like to use. In years past, when they first integrated this, I actually used Starfighter and Diamonds, and I actually really liked it. This is a, you know, it looks a little different, but I actually really like this one. The Starfighter one is actually one of the better options in my opinion for the center, or was it the center, the inner PCI, whatever it's called, the middle one, you know what I mean? And again, fellas, it's just aim small, miss small, and you'll have a ball. So there's a ton of different PCIs you can use, man, but my highest recommendation is just the Diamond Center, or you want to run the inner. I also like diamonds with the wedge as well, what I showed at the start of the video. I kind of have steered away from this over the years, more so just because, I don't know, man, it just doesn't, wedge just doesn't feel the same as it once was for me. I don't know, it just, I think there's better options, and it's kind of a shame, man, because I always did like using this PCI when I was growing up, you know, MLB 15, MLB 16, 17. I would always flip-flop between Weticle and Reg, but I've kind of steered away from this wedge PCI. You know, I'm more so just going with the center, or I'll slap on like an inner. And you know what is also a very good one? Basic and altitude right here. The altitude is actually very solid for this one. I used it a lot back in MLB 20, and I had some success with it. So it's kind of just like your own customization features and finding out what works for you. So this is just like, I'm setting the base ground, and you guys can elevate on top of that and find out what your calling is for this. Let's talk about transparency now. So transparency obviously just makes it so how dark your PCI is going to be on your screen, so you can see how like much more bold it is with the yellow right there. So I don't really recommend having like, and I also didn't talk about the colors. So the colors that I like to go yellow. I like cyan as well. Cyan is really good. This is one of my more favorite ones. It's also still very light. Those are my two recommendations for color though, yellow and cyan. If I had to give a third one, maybe violet. I think this is one. Yeah, this one's also not too bad. So if you're more of like a purple kind of guy, I know a lot of people like this color as well. So those are probably the three best ones, just because even at 100% transparency, you can see how just naturally light the color is. It won't interfere with any jerseys. You rarely ever see any like cyan or yellow or violet jerseys. So you don't have to worry about the PCI like blending in compare if you were using something like blue or red. So you also have to factor that in. You may have to change your PCI color depending on what jerseys your opponent is wearing on the bump. If your opponent's got that neon blue cotton candy jerseys on, you probably want something like yellow and not something like a purple or a blue. So I like yellow. And as far as transparency wise, man, I mean, anything I would say below 50%, and it's like, I would say it's like kind of hard to tell that it's on your screen sometimes. But that's just more so if you don't want it getting in the way, but you still want the PCI on the screen. So if you don't want to just completely turn that, turn the PCI off and just have no PCI. If you think that, you know, this is your PCI sometimes gets in the way, turn that transparency down a little bit and you'll be all right. I personally like to hover anywhere from probably, I would say like the 70 to like 80%. I usually keep it at like 70, I think is what I normally keep it at. It looks something like this, so it's not like too bold in the sense where it's like in my way, but it's still like clear enough to where I can still see it and I can track the ball with it. Once again, peeps, just aim small, miss small. That is my logic behind the PCI choice that I use, but you can obviously go and switch it up. Basic, diamonds, also something I like to use. And it's really just like finding that base level ground of what you like. So if you like your PCI on the screen, then you can go with this. If you are used to a smaller PCI, then just rock the center, but maybe you're not as comfortable yet just using this. Basic and diamonds. I like Starfighter and altitude, or it's really just preference, man. If you like circles over diamonds compared to me, go ahead and use that. Not everything I say will work for you, so it's all about finding out for yourself. I'm just trying to help you lay the ground level down. So to end it off, man, I'm just going to go through the three top ones again that I like to use. Diamonds, just normal, aim small, miss small. This is by far, in my opinion, the best PCI in the game. So the second one I recommend if you're not really comfortable with just the diamonds would be the basic with the circles. So I really like this one, man. It's a nice introduction to just your to the circles or the diamonds, whichever one you were using. And you know, as you kind of master this one and you feel like your PCI placement might be getting a little bit better, I would probably just cut out the basic, you know, as you advance. And just as kind of like a little bit of a, I wouldn't even call it a trolley one, bro, but you know, I still have a very soft spot for the altitude in Starfighter 1, because this is the one that I used back in the day, bro. Looking at this PCI again, this was the first ever, like, customizable PCI that I used, and when I started raking with it, I just kind of stuck with it. If you guys watch the MLB 20 series I played against Pitching Rebel, this is the PCI I used. I think I actually used blue as this, and I think I had it at 100%. Oh my god, yeah, this is it, dude. Look at how bright that. I just got flashbanged by my PCI. This thing is unbelievably bold. Honestly, dude, if this is kind of your thing, I used to do unbelievable with this. So some people do really good with like the really bold PCIs. It's honestly kind of a vibe, man. I miss using this PCI. I might have to switch back to it one day. But that's going to be the end of this video, peeps. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, man. If you have any questions about PCIs or just tips in general, be sure to leave it down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for 2K subs once again, peeps. It means the world to me. On the road to 3K. Let's see how fast we can hit it, man. You guys seem to be killing the tip video, so drop a sub. If you're new, drop a like. I'll see you dudes in the next video. Deuces.